US President Donald Trump has imposed high tariffs on dozens of trading partners before the August 1st deadline. He's set for economies to reach trade agreements with the US, including 35% tariffs on various goods from Canada, 50% on Brazil, 25% on India, 20% on Taiwan, 39% on Switzerland, and many other nations. This move aims to address the US persistent trade deficit. So how exactly do these tariffs directly impact the affected countries? Follow the full development in today's video.
U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed high tariffs on dozens of trading partners before the August 1st deadline he set for countries to reach trade agreements with the U.S., including a 35% tariff on various goods from Canada, 50% on Brazil, 25% on India, 20% on Taiwan, and 39% on Switzerland. According to Reuters, Trump issued an executive order listing higher import tariffs, ranging from 10% to 41%, effective after 7 days for 69 trading partners. Some of these partners have secured tariff reduction agreements, while others had no opportunity to negotiate with the U.S. administration. Trump also issued a separate executive order targeting Canada, increasing tariffs on Canadian goods from 25% to 35%, citing Canada's lack of cooperation in curbing the flow of fentanyl into the U.S.
Well, they have to pay a fair rate. That's all. It's very simple. They have been charging very, very high tariffs to our farmers, some over 200%. And they've been treating our farmers very badly. They've been treating our country very badly for years. And look, we like Canada. I love Canada. I have so many friends in Canada. But they've been very poorly led. They've been very, very poorly led. And all we want is fairness for our country. That's all. You know, they want to be under the, as we call it, the Golden Dome. And I said, well, you know, you're going to have to pay for that. They want a lot of things from our country, and for years we did it. We basically protect them with our military. They spend very little money on their military, as you know, not an acceptable amount of money.
Uncertainty surrounding trade negotiations with the U.S. continues to weigh heavily on Mexico's industries, with businesses in the northern border region warning of potential job losses and economic stagnation. Previously, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum announced on July 31st that an agreement had been reached to temporarily suspend new tariffs, granting an additional 90 days for continued negotiations. This agreement avoids a 30% tariff that was set to take effect on August 1st.
We remain as we are, and it's 90 days to keep talking, dialoguing, and building a long-term agreement. What we're looking for is that in front of this international situation, Mexico keeps the treaty, a good commercial relationship with the United States as a trade partner. So I think in this sense, it's a very good agreement to remain as we are and continue working.
Marcelo Vazquez, the regional representative of the National Association of Importers and Exporters of Mexico, ANIERM, in Chihuahua, expressed concern about the impact of the prolonged negotiation process. He stated, this extension only adds more uncertainty to the maquiladora industry.
Well, this new extension only causes more uncertainty among the maquiladora industry. Everything remains exactly as it was 3 months ago. In 3 months, President Trump's head fills with many things, and we don't know with which idea he'll come back with in 3 months. The issue is that we will continue losing jobs. We will continue losing in the industry due to the uncertainty caused by these types of decisions.
Meanwhile, Ulises Balderas, director of ANIERM in Chihuahua, highlighted the difficulties faced by small and medium-sized enterprises.
I think this uncertainty generated by the time frame we have regarding the days they're negotiating, it creates more problems regarding tariffs and trade. we are stuck in many things. Many companies are still in this position of not knowing whether to proceed with purchases, with their imports, with their exports, or to wait. And in that waiting period, expenses are generated for them. This is what we have seen, the collapse of many small and medium-sized businesses, many companies that have lost business, that have lost negotiations.
It's not good for the economic situation for anyone in the country, neither in Mexico nor in the United States, that we are not growing, that there is no investment, and all this has been generated precisely by these ways of doing politics. A personal opinion, the United States should already be applying the tariff policies with which it will negotiate, in this case with Mexico, I would say with the world, but in this case with Mexico, because time is running out, and they could be very good negotiations, but investment is not happening, growth is not happening, more jobs are not being generated, neither in Mexico nor in the United States.
The beef supply in the United States is currently experiencing a shortage, which may worsen following President Donald Trump's imposition of a 50% tariff on beef imports from Brazil. Recently, the supply has been so tight that processors have heavily relied on lean beef from Brazil, particularly for products like burgers. Many restaurants are beginning to warn customers about potential impacts. Among them is Illinois Bar and Grill, a 40-year-old establishment based in Chicago. Ms. Olga Denton, the longtime manager of Illinois Bar and Grill, stated that they always ensure both quantity and quality for customers, even if prices rise slightly. Currently, the restaurant is selling a 13-ounce beef burger for $10.99.
Let me just bring this and I'll be right back. Illinois Bar and Grill is known for the burgers. The big, juicy 13-ounce burgers. I love this place. I grew up in this place, literally. I was 20 years old when I started here, so it was something new for me coming from Europe and seeing those burgers on the grill. So we give you a quantity and quality in the same. Even if the price goes up a little bit, we will never go down on our portions. We always have a big portions, and that's what people like. And we're trying to keep it this way. I feel like it's a decent price, especially when you get fresh burger. It's not frozen. Everything is fresh up here, and we try to keep it fresh at all times. The burgers did not change. The size did not change. And people think they do, that it's got smaller, but they are the same.
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, report, as of July, the U.S. cattle herd has dropped to a record low of 94.2 million head. The number of cattle placed in feedlots in June also fell by 8% compared to the previous year, a sharper decline than forecasted. Meanwhile, Brazilian businesses are experiencing a mix of relief and uncertainty ahead of the new tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump taking effect, with some key sectors exempted while others are forced to seek new markets. On July 30th, the White House released a lengthy list of goods exempt from the 50% tariff, originally set to begin on August 7th. Although nearly 700 items were excluded, analysts estimate the effective tariff rate remains around 30% for all Brazilian imports. Certain products, such as orange juice and civil aviation components, will face a 10% tariff, while items like coffee, meat, and footwear will bear the maximum tariff. Beef exports from Brazil will be subject to the full tariff, pushing the Brazilian Beef Exporters Association, ABICE, to reassess its next steps. According to the association, the total tax burden exceeding 76% when combined with the existing 26.4% tariff will render beef exports to the North American market economically unfeasible.
We can say that it was a very surgical selection, in that the United States chose the most important products for them and also for Brazil's export agenda. It's possible that products that are being surcharged in the United States could be directed to other markets, but it's not a task that can be done overnight. So there are new trade routes, the intensification of those that already exist, and this requires requires a whole logistical adjustment, a commercial adjustment, and it's not easy because they're not necessarily popular or shelf-stable products.
We're taking the opportunity to reform so that we can come back stronger.
We're very afraid of this issue because we're left wondering what to do, how to act, and people are a bit scared.
Other sectors that have been hurt, these sectors don't have much of a way out at first, and will make a loss, and will find it difficult to maintain a level of performance and of profitability. There is a chance of a very strong risk of adjusting their workforce with layoffs, because you don't have such a relevant partner. The U.S., the country's second largest trading partner, and to think you'll find a replacement easily on the international market.
For economies with which the United States runs a trade deficit, meaning it imports more than it exports, a new minimum tariff rate of 15% will be applied. Around 40 economies will be subject to this new 15% tariff. Compared to the reciprocal tariff announced in April, this rate is lower for many countries but will be higher for a few. The new tariff policy will not take effect immediately on August 1st as initially planned. Instead, the tariffs will be enforced starting August 7th to allow sufficient time for the Customs and Border Protection Agency to implement the necessary changes for tax collection.
We will continuously update the latest developments on the tariff situation in our upcoming videos. Thank you for your interest and for following along.